Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dive deep into the science of learning to figure out what actually works, and maybe, just maybe, uncover some things that have been holding you back.
All right, let's just jump right in. I want you to think about this statement for a second. I have a preferred learning style. Is that something you'd say is most like you or least like you? Be honest, where do you think you fall on that scale? So if you found yourself nodding along and thinking, yeah, that's totally me, you are definitely not alone. This idea of learning styles is super popular. But what if I told you that very idea, that simple label, might actually be the thing that's limiting your own potential? I'm sure you've heard of these before. It's the classic VAK model. The idea is that you're either a visual learner, you need to see it, an oral learner, you need to hear it, or a kinesthetic learner, you need to get your hands on it and actually do it. Sounds simple enough, right?
Well, here's the thing. While the idea is kind of neat and tidy, a ton of research shows that it just doesn't hold up. The real danger is when we box ourselves in. By saying, I'm a visual learner, you might not even try other ways of learning, which creates this roadblock, a self-fulfilling prophecy that you can only learn one way. And this isn't just theory. Take Gabby's story, for example. She was crushing her science classes, but when she took Russian, her old study methods completely fell flat. She had to learn, the hard way, that you can't just have one go-to strategy. You have to adapt your approach to the subject. Okay, so if learning styles aren't the magic bullet, then what is? Well, the real secret to being a better learner starts with something much deeper, much more fundamental. It all starts with your mindset. This chart here, which is based on the incredible work of Dr. Carol Dweck, lays it all out. On one side, you've got the fixed mindset, which says, hey, my intelligence is what it is, I can't change it. On the other, you have the growth mindset, which believes you can get smarter through effort. I mean, just look at the difference in how they approach challenges or feedback. It's literally night and day. But having a growth mindset is only part of the story. There's another secret ingredient, another crucial trait for success that has absolutely nothing to do with how smart you are. And that secret ingredient is something called grit. Think about anyone you admire who's achieved something amazing. An athlete, an artist, an entrepreneur. I guarantee you they have this. It's that passion and perseverance, that relentless drive to just keep going, especially when things get hard. It's kind of like what Thomas Edison said. Genius is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. And the science totally backs this up. One major study actually found that grit was a better predictor of academic success than pure raw talent. That's the power of that 99% right there. And here's the best part. Grit isn't something you're just born with. Nope. It's like a muscle that you can actually build. It starts with things like finding what you're passionate about and practicing deliberately. And hey, don't underestimate number 5. Hanging around other gritty, persistent people is absolutely contagious. Okay, so we have mindset, we have grit. How do we put all of this together? How do we actually make that shift from being a passive student to becoming a truly active, empowered learner? Well, it starts by asking a totally different question. The old way was to ask, what is my learning style? The new, much more powerful question is, what is the best strategy for this specific task that's right in front of me? Seriously, think of it like a toolkit. You wouldn't use a hammer to try and saw a piece of wood, right? Learning is exactly the same. If all you need to do is remember some dates for a history exam, flashcards are a fantastic tool. But if you need to write a paper with a totally new argument, flashcards aren't going to cut it. You need a different tool for that job. And hey, don't just take our word for it. Check this out. When students themselves were asked what factors really influenced their learning, besides just being smart, what were their top 2 answers? Look at that. Motivation and perseverance. That's mindset and grit right there. This is all about making conscious, strategic choices. I love this quote from Lewis. He points out that even something as simple as choosing to sit at the front of the class is a strategy. That's not passive. That's you taking active control of your own focus. So let's recap the whole shebang. First, you're going to ditch that limiting idea of a fixed learning style. Instead, you're going to cultivate a growth mindset, build up your grit, and become a strategic learner who matches the right tool to the right job. Ultimately, it's about taking ownership. You are the designer of your own learning. So I'm going to leave you with this one final thought, a little challenge. Think about one learning task you're facing this week, maybe something you're struggling with. How could you change your approach to it with a growth mindset? Instead of saying, I'm just not good at this. What happens if you ask, what's a different strategy I can try? How are you going to choose to learn?